Hey everyone, hope you're all doing good today, and I hope that you're having a really great weekend. So I've been going through a lot of the new documents that have come out, and I have a couple of videos planned, just in terms of like different themes from the documents. And I'm definitely going to talk about the selfie. I'm definitely going to talk about the Amazon purchases. But in this video, I just wanted to discuss a little bit about the original timeline of the Idaho 4 crimes and how we can now supplement a little bit more information to the original PCA based on some of the documents that we now have. So I wanted to remind you guys that the original PCA stated the combination of DM statements to police, reviews of forensic downloads from BF and DM's phones, and videos of suspect vehicle 1 leads investigators to believe the crimes occurred between 4 a.m. and 4:25 a.m. And one of the main questions that a lot of people had early on in the case was, why are these times of 4 a.m. and 4:25 a.m. not consistent with the movements of what they're calling suspect vehicle 1? Because suspect vehicle 1 was supposed to have arrived at 4:04 and it was supposed to have left at a high rate of speed at 4:20 a.m. So, what do we now know about the start of this timeline that they've sort of given us? Well, to be honest, with the new documents, I'm a little bit confused because here in this one, it says that Dylan Mortensen went to bed at 3:20 a.m. And here it says that she had just woken up sometime between 4 a.m. and 4:20 a.m. And that's when she saw everything that she is alleged to have seen. But bear in mind that there had to be enough time for her to open her door a few times, hear a strange man's voice, which we now have confirmation that she didn't recognize, and also to briefly talk to BF around 4:19 on the phone. So based on her phone activity, this is the reason I'm confused, guys. Based on her phone activity, she was creating a new contact in her phone about 9 minutes before waking up. And later in the document, she's quoted as saying, I was really asleep. And she said, I woke up out of nowhere. So 9 minutes before she was supposed to wake up, I don't know, because it's not like she's saying that it was just a light sleep or that she was kind of just, dozing off. So why does this crime apparently start at 4 a.m.? I'm not sure why they're saying that. But I kind of wonder if it has something to do with something that BF saw or knows. And let's remind everyone that, Ann Taylor has said that BF has exculpatory information. She's also said that it's based on an experience that is unique to BF, and she's also said that it's based on something that BF heard and saw. So I'm not sure what that could be. But here's the reason I have a few questions. The state is using the time of 4:19 a.m. as a marker for when DM saw the intruder because of the phone call that you can see made here. They mention this time of 4:19 a.m. They imply that DM described the intruder to BF in this call, and that's how they know that she saw him sometime before 4:19 a.m. But what they're also doing, the state is, they're implying that DM reached out to BF to make this call because it says DM placed several phone calls and sent several texts to her roommates, and it also says the only roommate who responded was BF. Now, this seems to suggest that DM made the call to BF to report what she'd seen. But in a defense document, they're claiming that this was an outgoing call made by BF to DM and not the other way around. So, how would BF have known to call DM to hear about what she had seen? Now, bear in mind that these calls are quick. I'm assuming that this one here is the 24-second call mentioned by the state in one of their documents. Now, the state wants us to believe that BF didn't see this person that DM says she saw, because it says later in the document, DM is the only living person who saw. And the rest of the sentence is irrelevant. What they mean is that the only person who's laid eyes on this suspect of theirs is DM. And coming back here, all BF is meant to know is what has been relayed to her in these two short calls and some text messages. Now, the reason that this bothers me so much is because when we go to the 911 call transcript, we hear, no, we saw. And you also hear, oh, and they saw some man in their house last night. So I kind of wonder why that would be. I also wonder, is it possible that BF knows something worth calling DM about, but she'd prefer to, and this is in her own words, shut the fuck up? It's just a question. That's all I'm asking. But that's just, what I have to say about the start time of the crime, which isn't much. I mean, I don't really know why there's this discrepancy of 4 a.m. and 4:04 a.m., but that's just a little bit of information to sort of think about. Now, when it comes to the end of the crime, another question, an obvious question, why does the crime seem to end, according to the PCA, at 4:25 a.m. when the vehicle is supposed to have left at a high rate of speed at 4:20 a.m.? I am not sure. Again, this is all speculation, but I'm guessing that it does have something to do with these excluded texts that took place at 4:25 a.m. For whatever reason, it's been decided that we can't see this information. But what is important about this time is that I think this shows that DM left her room at this point to join BF, and it took her about 2 minutes to get to BF's room, because that's when the texting resumes. But you have to note that the texting does not resume between the two girls, implying heavily that they are together at this point. So, why would the crime end when DM leaves her room? Again, I don't have an answer for you. It's just something to think about that I thought was kind of interesting. Let me know what you think about all of these times and all of this information that I've just compiled here. I'd love to know your thoughts, and I will be back soon. I think the next video I'm going to do is probably about the selfie, because I don't believe that that picture of Brian Koberger shows somebody athletically built. I believe it shows somebody who's not looking so good, actually, somebody who looks a little bit ill. And I don't know, I'm not a doctor, but possibly not strong enough to commit this kind of crime. I don't know if you guys saw that too. And at some point after that, we'll get into the Amazon purchases, because that one is interesting. I want to make sure that I fully understand all of it before I even attempt to make a video. I hope that you all have a beautiful day further and enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll talk soon. Bye.